And one last. Can you talk about starting dose with powder and L-Carnitine? Okay, sorry, I had meant to do that, and that's a really good catch. So if you're going to take something that's more gentle, I actually start with plain powders using a very simple tool that you don't require a fancy schmancy milligram or microgram scale with. I use spice measuring spoons. I will include a link for them because the ones that I get start at this really tiny little amount called 1 drop, which is 1/64th of a teaspoon. The more vulnerable you are, the more likely you are starting there with something like an amino acid. However, L-carnitine is actually, if you are not fragile, fairly, I'd say, easy to start at a bit higher dose. So I might suggest the smidgen spoon, which is 1/32nd of a teaspoon, or the pinch spoon, which is 1/16th. And I always thought those words were just funny words that were made up for home cooks to just take their fingers and throw things into their cooking, but it turns out they're actual measures. So now you know. Interestingly enough, drop spoon is a 64th, smidgen spoon is a 32nd, pinch spoon is a 16th, dash spoon is a 1/8th, and a tad spoon is your regular quarter teaspoon. So for those of you who, like me, thought those were just made up words, they're real and they actually refer to something. So one of the things that you can do there is just buy a set of spoons like that. And for amino acids, you should not be taking more than, I'm going to say, 500 milligrams by the time you get to the tad spoon. That's a quarter teaspoon. No, 500 milligrams would be the 1/8 teaspoon. A tad, which is a dash. The quarter teaspoon should be about 1,000 milligrams. So back up from there and we get as small as we need to, okay? And then increase first by the same size dose. Okay, so let's say you started with a 1/16th spoonful. That's doing fine. You're taking it once a day. The first thing you do is go to a second 1/16th teaspoon and do it at a separate time in the day. What we're trying to do is not overload you with nutrients. And then potentially you even go to a third 1/16th teaspoon. If all that's going well, then go to the next bigger dose and sub in for one of the doses you're taking in a day. So you're taking 3 doses of 1/16th teaspoon. Your increase is then, my first one in the morning will be 1/8 of a teaspoon and the others stay at 1/16th. And I always do it in this kind of wave formation. And you always do the new dose early in the day so you can see how it's impacting you. So that's the pattern overall. Okay. The more vulnerable you are, the more likely you're starting at 1/64th of a teaspoon. But if you're fairly stable and you handle new supplements fairly well, then I would move to your pinch spoon or maybe even your dash spoon. But I would never go to the full dose. And many of these things, if you buy a capsule, will be 1,000 milligrams. I would never go to the full dose right out of the gate, right? Just back up from where you think you want to get to and the kinds of benefits, and keep in mind the stability of your own system as you go.